All right, so we're on page 23, April 20th. This is your practice for for today, and then if you flip it over, it's also your practice for tomorrow. Now, there's only a few practice problems, so it's really important that you do go on Khan Academy and you do some practice online. All right, so all of these problems, our skill is turning for today decimals into a fraction and then into a percent. And a percent is just any number over 100. And so they turn the decimal into a fraction over 100, and this top number is your percent. Whatever it is, once your denominator is 100th, your percent is just the numerator. And we're really good at turning decimals into decimals into fractions. And we're pretty good at converting between powers of 10s. We're going to need both of these skills to be able to accomplish this. So if you look at this one, 2 hundredths, and our top number is our numerator, so we have 2%. And it's just a fraction. A percent is just a fraction over 100. In this case, we have 2/10. And if we multiply the numerator and denominator by 10, wow, this is what we were working on last quarter, you get 20 hundredths, which is 20%. Now this one's a little tricky. If we have two wholes, a whole is 100%. A whole, 100 hundredths. But in this case, we have two wholes. So we have 100 hundredths and 100 hundredths, or 200 hundredths. 200%. Now, if you notice here, the trick is that they are sliding the decimal to the right 2 times because we're multiplying to get 100. So the trick is just to move your decimal point 2 places to the right. If you notice at the bottom, it gives you the little pence. But we're going to go ahead and do it with fractions because we need to really understand what we're doing. And once you understand what you're doing, you're welcome to use the trick. All right, so how do we say this number? 45 hundredths. Now we have a fraction over 100, which means we can write it as a percent. Which number do I write as the percent? The numerator. And if we use their trick, sliding it 2 decimal places to the right. All right, so let's try this next one. We're going to go down and do number 4 because it's a little bit harder. How would we write this number as a fraction? Four hundredths, right? Because we have tenths and hundredths. Which number do we write as our percent? The numerator. 4%. All right, so sometimes though, the numbers are going to be smaller than a whole percent. It might be a bit of a percent. So whenever they switch to a harder problem, they usually give you some hints. So we're going to start, how would we write this number? And I gave you some hints right here. So we're going to write it as 4 thousandths, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. But a percent needs to be over 100. So I'm going to have to convert this fraction into an equivalent fraction over 100. Well, how can I change 1,000 to 100? What math am I going to do? I need to reduce it. Division. How much do I need to divide it by to go from 1,000 to 100? 10. Now remember our rule, if we do it to the bottom, we got to do it to the top. 1,000 divided by 10 is 100. What is 4 divided by 10? We just practiced this. We even use that same number. Where is the decimal hiding? Behind the number. If we're dividing our decimal, which direction do we move it? Left. And we go one time because it's dividing by 10. So 4 divided by 10 is 4 tenths. Where is our percent? At the top, the numerator. All right, so let's try one more. Let's actually try 2 more. This is a pretty tough skill. How would we write this number? 1/23 thousandths. But I don't want thousandths. I need hundredths. Percents are over 100. So how am I going to reduce this fraction to get the denominator of 100? Divide by 10. If I do it to the bottom, I have to do it to the top. All right, so 123 divided by 10. Where is the decimal hiding? Behind the number. If I'm dividing, which direction do I go? Left. And I'm going to move it one time because I have 1 power of 10. And which number is our percent? The numerator. All right, and let's actually try 9 instead of 8, because this one has 1 added layer. All right, so how would I write this number? Well, if it only goes 3 decimal places, it's thousandths. But if it goes 4 decimal places, it's, and we did talk about this, 10 thousandths. So see, they have it right here. So 4,805 10 thousandths. But we don't want 10 thousandths. We need hundredths. So how can I go from 10,000 to 100? All right, we're going to need to divide by a power of 10. But which power of 10? Well, we need to get rid of 2 zeros, so we need to divide by 100. If I do it to the bottom, I got to do it to the top. Remember, this is a 1. Any number divided by 1 is that number. So we're just changing the shape of the number. We're not changing the actual number. All right, so now we're going to write our number. Where is the decimal hiding? Behind the number. If I'm dividing it by 100, which direction does it go? Left. How many place values do I need to move it? 2. And which number is our percent? The numerator. All right, so you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problems to practice today. These numbers don't need to be divided because they're already over 100, which is perfect. You just got to think a little bit about this one, how to write that as hundredths. These, however, do have different denominators, so you're going to have to convert them into fractions over 100. Now, I will post a video later in the week on Friday that'll go over how to solve all these problems where you can check your work, because I know these are really tough. All right, so we're at the end of our time, and we haven't gone over this page, so we will definitely go over this page in the next video. I'll see you soon.